Mike and Tom are registered with Steward Partners Global Advisors. Common Sense Finance with Mike Wiginton and Tom Farrell of HL Wiginton Capital Management, an independent investment and financial planning firm in downtown Jasper. Mike is a chartered financial analyst charter holder, and Tom is a certified financial planner professional. They are here to discuss and give their thoughts on current financial and economic matters. Now, with Common Sense Finance, here are Mike and Tom. Welcome back to another edition of Common Sense Finance. I'm Tom Farrell. This is Mike. And today we're going to talk about a group of people that really, historically, they're not as tuned in to investing and saving at their stage of life. We're talking about the young ones, the younger crew, I guess under 30, under 35, however you want to frame that. But you've titled this, and I have no reason why, but the Pick Six group. So I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, so I'll address a couple of those things right up front. Is when you say historically, I don't know how far back you want to go. If we go, certainly to when we were starting out of school, we were trying to figure out how to pay all our bills and that sort of thing. And, really dealing with a budget and that out of, we didn't have any choices. What I find, because this is a group that's somewhere between 25 and 30 years old that generated these questions to me directly. And what I find is these folks are very much in tune to the whole savings and investing money and fiscal responsibility. I think it's awesome, but it does seem different than how you would describe historically if you go back far enough. So it's their mindset, I think, is way more healthy but in terms of why I pick, it has nothing to do with football. Everybody says, "Oh, this Pick Six." I don't care about anything about football. They should end all of that anyway, as far as I'm concerned, as you know.
I do not agree with you, but
so anyhow, this is more about they all need to go out and pick 6 bags of cotton in the middle of July. Okay, is what that's about. And when they get through that, pick another 6 or times 10 bags of potatoes. So anyhow, that'd be good for them. So you know who you are, okay? I'm talking to you. However, a lot of people may be tuned off when you start talking about, bringing up age classes, but it's interesting how many of these questions come up with folks in their 40s and even 50s, okay? So I wouldn't be judging the book by its cover too quickly. So the question was, hey, and again, keep in mind this is a group of middle 20s, so say 25 to 28 years old, in a group, and they're hitting me with these questions. It's a little impromptu. And so my first response to that is, well, okay, hold on a second now. Are you married? Yes or no? Because the big difference that makes is that the first thing before you get into the investing world is you need to get some things squared away. Number one is you need to get your insurance situation squared away. Yep. All right? Now, if you're single and you don't have any debts, right, and something happens to you, if you've got, I don't know, a few $1,000s to bury yourself, then you really don't have any insurable interests. All right?
True.
I mean, what do you want to leave behind, and to whom? To cover what? All right? To pay for what is what I mean by to cover what. And so once you get married, then that obviously your personal situation is changing a little bit. You may not want to leave a spouse behind with, say, a mortgage if you've already bought a house, or car payments or you may just want to leave them a nest egg if you want, just because of what was that term, loving, caring your interest in those people. So the first thing is you need to determine what sort of insurance needs you have, and there's a very mathematically straightforward way to calculate those insurance needs. That's probably really could be a whole separate podcast on, sure. Hey, what is insurance about? What's the definition of insurance? Why do you need it? Do you need it? And how do I figure out how much I need?
And what kind?
Yeah, and what kind? That would be a great podcast for you to consider.
We'll do that next.
Okay. So anyway, so are you married? Do you have your insurance needs covered? What's your marital status? Do you have your insurance needs covered? Do you have your cash needs covered? Before you get into this investment program, you need to have a little safety cash. Now, back in the day, they said that everybody recommended these rules of thumb, which I'm not, I'm okay. I'm a little, rules of thumb or anyway. I take exception to a lot of them. But anyway, that they would say, 6 months?
3 to 6 months.
Of cash is what you should have. Okay, maybe, depends on your circumstance, but you definitely ought to have, in case you get a couple of tires that go flat on these great Walker County roads that you're driving around on, or if the water heater blows out, whatever again, your own personal circumstances are going to dictate that. So once you've got those very basic items covered, then we can start talking about investing money. And I guess the next step, and you can approach this however, it's just the way I would approach it, is, well, do we want active or passive? And remember, active is you got to do it yourself. So you could, if you go build duplexes or buy a rental property or own a business or invest in real estate, those are investments, legitimate investments, but you do it yourself. All right, you're the one handling all aspects of that. I advocate for folks at this stage of their careers that's what your single focus should be on, is your career, and gaining knowledge, even over the sole pursuit of income, is becoming a professional and an authority in your field, whatever field that you've chosen. And so you don't need to be diverting your attention, okay, and your time to an active investment strategy. That's what I advocate. All right, you get other people that may want to tell you differently. I'm just telling you what I advocate, what I advise, and why. And then later on, you probably have, if you're successful with your career pursuits, and if you spend the right amount of time and energy pursuing them, then I'm sure you will be, then you can figure out, hey, and maybe you've got the capital to do it, to pursue active investment strategies, okay? So right now, I'm going to assume that for this conversation, that we're pursuing passive investment strategies, which means that you go the way of the public markets to do that. Anything you want to add about any of that?
Nope.
All right. So I say the age span that this would cover is vast, a heck of a lot bigger age gap than the textbooks, which are obsolete, or the current periodicals, the current publications that you would get on the internet, are, I think, just misguided because they run by rules of thumb. And I would say that most of the people writing that stuff don't have the backgrounds, the knowledge base to be writing anything to you about personal finance or investments, but they're probably not registered people, so they can say and write whatever they want to say or write. Okay, so if you're in that age group, then you're concerned with growing your wealth. Probably, more than likely, pretty sure you are, as most folks should be. Well, there's only one asset class that's used for growing wealth, and that's equity. Okay, again, whether it's private, which means active assets, equity, and equity means ownership. It's synonymous with ownership, or whether it's passive. The passive form of equity is the stock market. And so that's where you have to be. And if you're pursuing growth strategies, then you should want growth stocks. And then there's all sorts of whether you want large cap growth, small cap growth, mid cap growth, and so forth. And that breaks down. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds with this. I just want to stay real simple, that then you need to determine whether you're going to hire some sort of an authority to work on your behalf in the investment world, or whether you're going to go it alone, do it yourself. And I would tell you, so I'm going to assume that you want to go it alone and do it yourself. All right? And by the way, if I am not being precise enough with any of this, then I would say, you can call us anytime. We'll fill in the blanks for you. and help you go it along and do it yourself. No problems. So let's just say you're going to go the do it yourself. Very easily, all you need to do, in my opinion, the safest, most direct way to go about that is just to own market-oriented exchange-traded funds. And by market-oriented, I mean you're tracking broad measures, indices that either track or intend to replicate the market, like the S&P 500, which is an index. It's not the total market. The S&P 500 is the largest 500 companies headquartered in the United States. You can own the whole NASDAQ. You can own the Dow Jones Industrial Average through exchange-traded funds. So that's, just general market-oriented exchange-traded funds would be the easiest way for you to get started with an investment strategy to help grow your wealth. And so, again, I hope I didn't use any acronyms. We're going there. If I did, I apologize for that. Jargon is what that is. And if I've left anything there that needs to be answered, then you know my email address, our phone numbers. You can call us. We'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, one thing I would add too is a lot of, especially at that age, maybe you have families, you're growing, you're like you said earlier, you're trying to just pay your bills and get a little bit ahead. I mean, if you can just do, whether it's $50, $100, by whatever you can afford to do a month, even if you think it's a small amount, it's a good way to get in the habit of doing something like that. And as you see that account grow, whatever you're doing, and a lot of times at that age, especially if you're doing smaller dollar amounts, a mutual fund, which is not going to be our first choice of an investment vehicle, but it's better than nothing. Where you can do a dollar amount in there, so you can buy fractional shares and things like that, and there may even be some ETFs that'll do that now. But just getting something started and getting the ball rolling, even if you think it's an insignificant amount, I think it's a great first step anyway. So I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, I guess whenever you're like you said, taking those first steps, if you don't know, it seems scary, not sure what to do. I totally get it. But the proper, responsible handling of the finances, I think it's great that folks in any age class, especially the folks just starting out their careers, I think it's great to see them so interested in that.
And one thing I would certainly guard against, you need to have the right mindset when you're going into that. If you've been watching the TikToks and what's the
Face chat.
No, Roaring Kitty,
Instaboy.
whatever the dude that he gets on there and all these, and it seems to be younger people think, well, I'm going to open up a whatever, a Robinhood, whatever account. I'm going to just start buying and selling these stocks. That ain't going to work out good for you.
Reddit.
There you go. Wall Street bets or whatever. You need to have the mindset of this is a long game. You want, steady growth over a long period of time. If you think you're going to, buy some stocks and start trading whatever your strategy may be, and yada yada yada, 2 years later you've got $1 million account. That ain't going to happen. So you got to have the right mindset too.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've talked about that before, because people get on. It's interesting. We were talking about this the other day. It was not about finance, but how people, and it could be any age classes, but we're talking about younger people, start to idolize people they see. And I would say to you, the people that you better be real careful about the people you start idolizing. Okay, even people that you meet on these great places like the golf course, you better check those people out real well. And much less folks you don't know and that are on InstaFace and chat and
like you said, these people aren't registered. They're not held accountable for what they're saying, and most of them are out there. They're just trying to get more followers on their account, and the more sensational they can be with what they're saying, the more followers they're going to get, and they're making a living off of doing TikToks. They're not making a living probably off of trading stocks.
And I would say that it is as intelligent to follow their financial advice as it would be to follow your unemployed buddy's advice on your brain surgery, or you're replacing your patella oblongata.
There you go.
So I mean it makes as much sense.
I agree.
And you know something, if finance is not a real subject matter, then neither is medicine.
Yep.
So you can't just say things and I mean you should really be skeptical to your point.
Anything else?
We'll talk about this.
That's it. Thank you.
All right. See you next time.
Controversy. Controversy. Do I believe God? Or do I believe me? Some people wanna die so they can be free. So life is just a game. We're all just the same. Controversy. Controversy. Controversy.